Yahushua blessings. My name is Holly Baglio, and I'm going to be giving you my testimony in little pieces. I was trafficked for 37 years of my life, and I just turned 50 September 12th this year of 2024. I'm already nervous. I also have fallen under great spiritual and demonic attack, this being the third video that I've run. Please check out Human Hunting Party and Kids in Cages. This one I'll be talking about Montauk. I was born into MK Ultra projects stemming from Operation Paperclip at the end of World War II. Operation Paperclip saved approximately 1,500 Nazi scientists, Nazi elites and soldiers, Adolf Hitler's best friends, and they relocated them into other places of the world, such as Canada, Argentina, America, and other places. And they continued on with their human experimentation. Joseph Mengele created me. I'm a created human, and we can get into that. But first, let's talk about Montauk. You may be familiar with Montauk, Long Island, New York, the Sage Radar. This is what I'm speaking of. I remember being kept in a cage. The cages were made of hard plastic, and it seemed like there was only like a small little peephole that you could look out. And there were cages 3 stacked high. And the room was a table. You all must have heard about the Montauk chair. I have memories of the Montauk chair as well. But in this particular memory that I'm trying to explain for this particular video, us kids were being tortured terribly. And me and a boy approximately my age, he was a big boy, big, strong. He and I tricked the lab coat somehow. And my memory is fuzzy, but he and I tricked the lab coat somehow and beat the lab coat up, tied him, did to him what he was doing to us. We could have possibly stuffed him back into a cage. But me and this other boy, I think it was David, and David gave me permission to use his name because David is one of the few people that remembers me and I remember him. We mutually remember the cages with each other and Mengele torturing us. Mengele was not at Montauk. I will only mention Joseph Mengele's name because I suffered Stockholm Syndrome over him. I will not say the other lab coats, programmers, or handlers' names because I fear for my life. Some of them are still alive, and even the ones that are not alive, I prefer not to name them because, again, I fear for my life. There's too many connections. But I will say this. Their victims were not worth their science. Montauk was about time travel, and for me, it was just plain torture. So excuse me that I'm not going to be giving any names. I only came back for the kids. Anyway, David and I tricked the white lab coat. I said, David, grab the rest of the kids. We're getting out of here. And he and I, we started to make our way out through the tunnels. And we got to one tunnel, and I remember climbing up, but I could not get the cover off the hole, the man cover. So David went up the ladder. He went up, and he was able to get the cover off. He and I had approximately 5 kids. There was approximately 5 to 7 of us. I think I was under the age of 15 for this memory. I remember there was a smaller girl. She had blonde hair, and I was carrying her through the tunnels. She was so small, so tiny. David and I, with the rest of the kids, made our way to the surface. And I was not banking on it being daylight. And I don't know what they did to us or what drugs they had us on, but the second the daylight hit us, we could not run. We could barely walk. We got out to what looked like a parking area. Now, my drawing, I'm not an artist, and this does not do justice. But where we came out was right next to the building that had the radar on top. There were trees and bushes behind us, and there seemed to be an open clearing between the building with the radar and where us kids were. Wherever we came out, up through the tunnels to the surface of the earth, it was right next to the sage radar, and I'm looking up at the big radar, and it looked like there was a big clearing in front of us. It could have been like a roadway, or maybe it was just a big clearing without bushes. But it seemed in front of us that there was a fence, and on the opposite side of the fence was like a parking area maybe, but there was a roadway. And it looked like the roadway to get out of Montauk. David and I and the rest of the kids, we got to the fence, but there was no way that we could scale up that fence. We could not walk. Whatever drugs they had us on did not go well with sunlight. And it wound up that a group of white lab coats ran out and got us kids outside, and they dragged us back down into the tunnels into Montauk. They put me in front of that sage radar. In another memory, I remember being tied up in a van, and there was a fat, ugly person. He was a scientist, and I begged him. I said, do whatever you want, but please let me go. Please let me go. And all he did was sit there chomping down on his sandwich, being a slob. And he goes, I get off on science. And he kept eating. And I begged him to let me go, because the experiments in Montauk were so brutal. Thank you for your time. I pray against incoming retaliation attacks. I pray against demonic oppression because of my testimony in Yahushua's name, and I implore all of you, please go before Heavenly Abba, get confirmations back from him, test the spirits, test everything, and please do your own research. Please look up MK Ultra, SRA, satanic ritual abuse. Please look up Montauk, the Sage Radar. Please look up deep underground military bases. Please look up human hunting parties. It's all real. Thank you.